Hi everyone. So earlier this week I woke up with the Monday blues and it got me thinking, why is it that the weekend feels so good and the rest of the week just feels more of a grind? Even though I work for myself and I'm in control of my own schedule, I still catch myself craving the weekend, and honestly it just doesn't make any sense to me, and importantly I just don't want to live like that. If I left my life of stability working in that 9 to 5 corporate job to create some sense of freedom, why am I still finding that I'm trapped in that old mindset? So this week I experimented with something a bit more different. And I thought, okay, what can I do to make my weekdays feel more like weekends? So I did some internal digging and I made a few small shifts, and I feel like what I did kind of worked. So I just want to share some of these insights with you guys today. The first thing I did was I wanted to understand why the weekdays actually felt different to the weekends. Why was it that I felt more pressure, more stress, even though I'm doing what I actually love and building my own business and really getting into that? Is it because of my attitude going into it? Is it because I have more of a routine during the week and I'm more goal orientated, that I need to fulfill certain tasks in order to feel whole or productive? Or is it that it's some sort of trauma or some sort of legacy mindset that's left over from, yeah, 15 years of working in this kind of 9 to 5 culture? Maybe I'm still equating the long hours with productivity, and I feel like in order to reward myself, I need to earn this time in to be productive, to reward myself, even though technically I'm my own boss. And the biggest insight that I got out of that after kind of diving deep into it was that it's definitely to do with my attitude. It's my approach and how I think about my work and my life and also my time. And I came up with 3 simple shifts that I felt like could make my days during the week feel more like weekends without working any less. So the first thing that I looked into was being a bit more flexible with my schedule. On the weekends, I still tend to work, but I don't force myself into a rigid schedule. I just have a general direction of what I want to do, what I want to achieve. I throw it out there and I do it until I feel I'm done energetically, regardless if I've achieved what I aim to do. And instead of forcing myself to finish something just because it was on my to-do list, I let myself switch to the next task and move on to the next thing whenever I felt ready. And that somehow has led me to actually get more done. And the second shift for me was slowing down. I felt like during the weekends, it feels good because I can let myself go. I can go slower. There's less of a rush mindset and feeling this pressure of doing things back to back. And I started to give myself a bit more permission to slow down during the week as well. So slowing down actually also makes me feel more present in my work and in my everyday tasks, which leads to more calmness. And that calmness just means I get to enjoy those little steps, those tasks that I'm doing at hand more fully. And the last shift, which I felt was really important, is that I stopped saving all the fun stuff for the weekend. If I wanted to go for a swim, I would go and do that. Or if I wanted to take a nap because my body feels tired, I did that. And if I wanted to go and shoot something that's not work orientated, but something that will fulfill me from a creative perspective, I would go out and do that. So listening to my body and doing what actually felt good to me in that present moment I find that that's actually helped me. And it's not about working less, but I think it's more about being more intentional in what we want to do and what we want to achieve during the week. So this past week, as I mentioned, I made these little changes, like going slower, taking more breaking up my routine and being a bit more flexible in my schedule. And the funny thing was, I actually ended up getting more done. I felt more productive. And more importantly, I felt happier in my days. Didn't feel It felt less of a grind than the usual kind of 9 to 5. I think as freelancers or independent entrepreneurs, or those of us that's building our own thing, our own business, we tend to push harder because we're following our dreams, we're creating something of our own, we're following our purpose. And I think that's beautiful and it's super exciting. But if we're not conscious about it, we can burn ourselves out to the point that we start dreading our day to day and our work. And I think that just completely defeats the whole purpose of why we're doing this independent thing in the first place. So we gave up our stability for freedom. So what is the point if we don't take advantage of that? If we don't make every day feel like a weekend? I want to close by citing or sharing a quote by Rick Rubin. He says that in his book, living life as an artist is a practice. You're either engaging in the practice or you're not. We tend to think of the artist's work as the output, but the real work of the artist is a way of being in the world. And I think that really sums up what I'm saying here nicely, because to live this life, it takes conviction. It's not easy. It takes practice. There's the sacrifices that we need to make, and it's less about the results of what we put out there, but more about how we show up in the world. And it's as Rick says, it's our way of being in the world. So I'm going to leave it at that. And here's to making every day feel more like a weekend. And I'll see you in the next one.